So, if your best friend in the whole wide world ends up taking your role as the father in your child's life, in your daughter's life, how would you feel? For some context, let me just tell you, you have been wanting to be a father your entire life, okay? I mean, not your entire life, but as like when you started getting those feelings, when you first fell in love with your wife and you guys got married and you guys decided to be together forever, all you ever wanted to do was be a father. And you finally became one to a very cute, pretty baby girl. But 22 years from now, 22 years from the birth of your daughter, your best friend is the father of your is the only father that your daughter knows, is the only father that your daughter will ever know, is your best friend is the one walking her down the aisle instead of you on her very special day, on her wedding day. How would you feel? Now imagine, now consider just one other thing. You knew this, you used to play, you used to be a very popular sports personnel when you were in college or in your school, and you used to play with this really nice guy, tall, hunky. You guys are both tall and hunky, but this person was genuinely nice. He was a genuinely good person, and he would help everyone around him, and he would be nice to people, to those around him. But you guys grew apart because he got to play professionally, but you didn't. But it worked out for you because you inherited a huge fortune. So you were living the lavish life, you were living the rich life. But you did not realize that you had surrounded yourself with the wrong people. And you gamble, you party, you waste your money away, and eventually you go bankrupt. And when you go bankrupt, none of the friends who partied with you, none of the friends who went on vacations with you, who went to all these fancy gatherings, programs, events with you, would even talk to you. You would go to them thinking they're your friend and ask for help, but they won't even open their doors for you. They won't even, give you like a side glance. So you're in your mid-20s and broke, like bankrupt. You're homeless, you're dirty because you haven't showered or bathed in forever. You're wearing the same dirt trodden, set of clothes that you were wearing months ago when you declared bankruptcy. You can't eat because you have no food and you can't afford food, and there's no one that you can turn to. But then remember the friend that you used to play football with when you were in school? You run into him by mistake. And unlike anyone else you've ever met, he doesn't see your matted hair, he doesn't see your dirty clothes, he doesn't see, your dirty torn shoes, your dirty fingernails. All he sees is you. And you can tell that he's genuinely happy to see you. He takes you in, he tells you that he's married now and he has his own little business and he would love to have someone like you. He would love to have you help him around. So he takes you in, basically. He provides a roof over your head, food to eat, new clothes to wear. He is the reason you could start anew. He is the reason you got a second chance in life. But 22 years from the moment you meet him, 22 years from then, you are the one who's living his dream. You are the one who is going to live and fulfill one of his only dreams, to walk his darling daughter down the aisle, to walk his one and only daughter down the aisle on her wedding day. How would you feel? This is a story of two best friends, or two friends who used to be two people who used to be friends in school, then drifted apart and became friends again through unfortunate circumstances. It's the story of Gohataro and Shuichi. So it's a story of Gohataro and Shuichi. And so after Gohataro runs into Shuichi, and Shuichi takes him into this little small, 9 to 10 seater cafe and gives him a fresh cup of coffee, asks him how his life is. And when Gohataro tells Shuichi that, all the things that happened, that he came into a boatload of money and then blew it all up and now he's bankrupt, Shuichi does not judge. He does not judge. He just looks at him and tells him, I could use somebody like you in my business. And takes him in. He takes him home, introduces him to his wife and his few days / a month old daughter. And from then onwards, Gohataro, who had nobody till then, especially after he lost his money, who had nobody, no family, no friends, he found a family. He found another calling in his life. And one day, Shuichi's wife wasn't feeling so well, so Shuichi was asking Gohataro to look after the baby, and Shuichi just said, please take care of my daughter till I'm back. And they leave. But on the way to the hospital, Shuichi and his wife, they run into an accident costing them their lives. And from that day onwards, Gohataro has raised Shuichi's daughter as his own, and he never told the daughter about her, real parents and what happened to them. So all that daughter knows is that Gohataro is a single parent and that she loves him. So now she's 23 years old, and she's found the love of her life. She's getting married, and Gohataro decides it's time for me to tell her the truth. It's time for her to know her real father. But before that, his entire life, ever since Shuichi and his wife passed, Gohataro has been plagued by this sense of guilt that he has taken over something that Shuichi has wanted to do his entire life, that he's living Shuichi's life. Don't get me wrong, Gohataro loves the life he has, but he feels guilty that for him to get that life, Shuichi had to die. So one day he remembered Shuichi telling him about the cafe where you could time travel. And he decides to go. And then, he visits the cafe. He walks downstairs, sub-level now, and he visits the cafe. He tells the waitress that he wants to time travel, go back in time, and he does. And when he does, he has all these thoughts in his head, like, what is Shuichi going to think of him? He has gray hair. He's visibly older, like 20 years older. But as soon as Shuichi sees Gohataro, he knows. And he asks what happened and all that. And Gohataro tries not to tell Shuichi that he would die. So all he asks is, he takes a digital camera out and he's like, your daughter is getting married and I would like a recording from you to play it to her on her wedding day. And Shuichi does ask why, but Gohataro doesn't tell him. He makes up some excuses. So But eventually, Shiuchi, being the very perceptive person that he is, he figures out, and the both of them, they end up crying. Well, one reason why Shuichi figured out is because the moment Gohataro saw Shuichi, Gohataro has been bawling his eyes out. He just didn't know it. He's been just tears been dropping from his eyes, from his face onto the chin and into the tea, into the coffee mug, and just Gohataro didn't realize it. Shuichi tells Gohataro, "You're a terrible liar." And then he does record. He records the video, he records himself, and then he records Kohataro, and then he tells Kohataro to not to not feel guilty. He says, "My friend, don't feel guilty. Don't." And Kohataro does apologize. He apologizes profusely, saying sorry, 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 but it's not his fault that he dies. Shuichi does ask, "How do I die, say?" He does ask. And Kohataro tells him that he and his wife get into an accident, and that's how they die. And Shuichi tells him that it's okay, that it's not his fault, and that if anyone else were to take care of his daughter, he's glad that it's Kohataro. And with that, he records the video. He tells the daughter to love Kohataro, and that tells her that she was immensely loved by her mother and father, and then tells Kohataro to live his life guilt-free. And Kohataro comes back to the present, crying but happy, and he goes off to his daughter's wedding. If you were in Kohataro's shoes, would you have gone back for any reason? Would you have?